Hello and welcome back to the final fan zone of the day, and I'm very excited to be joined. He's got a medal round his neck. He walks and he clangs as he walks now. The wonderfully brilliant winner of the Grand Prix here today at the LeMieux National Championships, the wonderful Gareth Hughes. Thank you so much for coming into the fan zone.
Thank you, pleasure.
What do you think of a new initiative for British Dressage? Do you like it?
Yeah, very nice.
Well, we are streaming out on social media, hopefully, if all things technical are working. So anyone watching at home, if you've got any questions for Gareth or just want to tell us if you're enjoying the championships, then send us a little comment and we'll read them out. Gareth.
Yes.
First of all, I think we should start off with the summer of dressage love. So first of all, Tokyo.
Yep.
It is tough competition to get on a team. So even travelling reserve, I mean, first of all, actually that's a real responsibility on your shoulders, isn't it? I mean, how did you feel going as travelling reserve, first of all?
I was extremely proud to be selected. My top mare, Classic Braylinka, unfortunately injured herself at the beginning of the year, so I thought that was my year regarding the Olympics done. And the young horse that I eventually got selected on, Centano, he hadn't done an international Grand Prix. So I looked through, I'm getting tapped by a bee, looked through the internationals. And again, because of COVID, they've been very, very difficult to get out. And we need to do these internationals to be selected because we can only get selected off international competitions. So off we went to Belgium, and he pulled out a really good score. So like, okay, that's going to put you in the mix. And then luckily Wellington put a competition on, so we did that, and then he pulled out another very, very good score, which then put him down as the fourth horse.
And first of all, that must have been so, like, a bit of a kind of like, right, we're going, this is it.
No, definitely, absolutely. And you know, he was... he's extremely inexperienced, and the way the Olympics ran this year with the travelling reserve. So usually what happens with the travelling reserve is if you go as a travelling reserve, once they do the initial, they have a trot up, a vet check at the beginning of all CDIs or internationals, then championships. Usually you don't do that. You only get put in at that point if one of the horses before that is lame. Where this year we could actually be substituted throughout the event. So it was very, very different. So we did everything that the three other guys did, the arena familiarization, the trot ups, and each day the competition started at 5 o'clock, and up till 3 o'clock each day I had to be prepared to ride.
Goodness, that actually mentally, that was quite hard. And we had your wonderful groom, Steph, on here, and she said there was just so much stress involved, even just getting through the trot up, and just knowing that any point in time you could be like, right, on you get going.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you know, none of us knew what to expect in Tokyo. It was a long flight. None of the horses had flown before, so it was like, you know, how are they going to arrive there? And they all arrived fit and well. The facility over there was amazing. I'd had everything that we needed as riders, the grooms needed that looked after the horses, the support staff from the vets to the physios to the farriers, everything there. The BF staff that go out with us, they did an amazing job, and it just allowed us to really concentrate on our job. And then those three guys went out and killed it.
And I know that having you, one of the reasons as well that it's so important to you having your camp, you're a real team player. Yeah. You're there, like, whatever's happening. Yeah. And it feels like this squad, there was a real camaraderie. And that kind of came across at home as well, even with no spectators or anything. It just felt like that. Is that how it felt out there? Yeah.
I mean, we get on very, very well. I mean, I train with Carl. I've been training with Carl for the last 15, 16 years, long time. And so, no, we all get on very, very well. We're all very, very supportive of each other. And obviously, like, this time it was very different with no spectators, no real family around you. We didn't actually end up going into the Olympic Village. We stayed in a hotel to try and keep us COVID free. So we were a very, very tight team. And I think it showed. And we were all very extremely supportive of each other. And obviously, you know, I was obviously, as a competitor, disappointed I didn't get to ride. Yeah. But, I mean, absolutely thrilled for them with their results.
I know Bobby's been desperate to talk to you about Tokyo and stuff, but Bobby, the team spirit is so important. I know your team, Hayler, and the relationship you have with your family, but that team spirit that Gareth brings is crucial, isn't it?
It really is, and I think everybody was in that emotional journey with you. I mean, I remember commentating them all when I was doing it, and we were all emotional every time someone went down the centre line and the camera went back to you, watching you as you were supporting them. It was just amazing. We could really see how much there was a team spirit there. The question I want to ask you, really, because obviously at any time, like you said, you could have been drawn into competition. How did you school him? Did you ride him every evening like you could go down the centre line the next day, or did you keep the work really light?
Well, yeah, I mean, that wasn't so easy as well. So I prepared him like everybody else did. You know, he did the arena familiarizations. We did everything, everything the same as the other guys. We obviously competed in the evening over there. The competition started at 5. So every day on the week leading up, we rode, we trained in the evening like that. So, yeah, it was preparing like you were competing. Well, it was training like you were going to compete. I just didn't quite get that far.
Yeah, but you were there and everything like that. And I actually think it was probably more nerve-wracking for you than anybody else, simply because I know what it's like sitting and watching someone go down the centre line and you can't help them, can you? So how did that feel, constantly watching?
Well, I mean, the sport was unbelievable. I mean, throughout the games, all the nations, the sport was very, very strong. Everybody had to ride at their best. So, you know, the thing is, our strongest team was those 3. So you were really wanting that to happen and them to do the best job that they could. And then they did. Yeah,
and then which was absolutely amazing. It was amazing to watch and support. But, you know, you didn't stop there, obviously, going from the Olympics then to the Europeans.
Yeah.
That area, what was it? I think Charlotte said in there, 5 weeks between the Olympics?
It was less, yeah.
What did you do in that time?
Well, that was the thing. So we all sort of knew, we'd sort of chatted and we sort of thought whether... I think at the beginning of the year, we sort of contemplating what was actually going to happen. I think we sort of thought we were going to have a team for Tokyo and then a team for the Europeans because it was so close and we didn't know how well the horses would travel. The flight out there was extremely long and they had to do a stopover. And actually, it's an Emirates flight and Emirates aren't allowed to fly over Russia. But we got through Isabel Wirth. She was able to talk to the Russian team and someone within that was able to get us... They were given the rights to fly back over Russia, so it cut the flight down by several hours, which made a huge difference to the horses. And also, too, we quarantined over in this country. So we did 9 days quarantine over here, and then the horses left the quarantine facility over here and then had to be driven to Belgium. And then they had 5-6 hours in Belgium before they flew out. So they were very, very tired going back. Coming back, I mean, I know with Centano and I know with Carl and Charles' horse, I mean, he came back, he landed in Belgium, he had a few hours there, was driven back overnight back home, and they bounced off the lorry. So that was great. So that was the first thing, that they got back, and you were like, good, you're back, you're safe, everything's good. So then you start trotting them up. Are they sound? Are they not sound? Have they coped? You know, how are they physically? Then how are they mentally? And then they all felt really good. So you were like, Europeans. Right, so then straight away you start to focus on that, and it was really close. And with Centano, what was quite difficult is I didn't compete in Tokyo. So leading up to the Europeans, I mean, he'd had very, very limited competition experience. So, I was hoping to get selected, which we were. And then it was obviously then going to the Europeans. We had a strong team. So the upside of being on a very strong team is you know, the success that you can have, but there's also a lot of pressure that comes with that because there is an expectancy as well of what's going to happen. And with Centano, we got selected, which was amazing. And so then it was turn around, focus, and
off you went.
And off we went.
So did you know you were going to the Europeans before you went to go to the Olympics, or was the selection after?
No. Selection was after. So we did the Olympics, we came home, and then I think we were home for 2 weeks, and then the selection was announced.
That's crazy. That's so like then crazy.
Then we had about 2 weeks before we went to the Europeans, or a week and a half or something. Yeah.
And do you think he gave you a different ride at the Europeans? Because obviously there wasn't a lot of audience at the Olympics, but the whole atmosphere was still quite big.
There was no spectators at Olympics, but the facility itself, how it was set up, there's a huge amount of atmosphere in there. And you do anything under lights, that adds something extra to it as well. But what was really interesting with Centano, even though he had very limited experience in the arena, the whole Tokyo experience was really worked for us in how he was when we got to Hagen for the Europeans. It was extremely busy. All of a sudden, there was spectators, there was movement of people, and I mean, at that one competition, there was the senior Europeans, there was the under-25 Europeans, there was a three-star CDI, and there was show jumping. And so there was a lot going on, a lot of people, a lot of horses, and he felt so much more mature in that environment, and that's where Tokyo really benefited.
And you find that, isn't it, when you even have a young horse and you take them to their first show, and then they come back so much more mature, don't they?
Yeah.
So that's amazing. So obviously today you've had an epic ride, and we're very pleased that you're the winner. We were very excited, weren't we, Jenny?
I know, and I just wanted to see a medal as well, Gareth. I say you got that silver. I do, actually. Yeah, I'm going to do that, yeah.
You can wear it for the rest of the interview.
So
closest I'm ever going to get to winning a medal, let's face it. It's never going to happen. But this... I know it's a huge team, and we've got to give a shout out to Steph. She's sitting just there.
She's sitting over there.
18 years she's been a groom for you, and now you've got a medal, Steph. Woohoo! But this means that to everyone, doesn't it? To Rebecca, to Ruby, to Steph, the whole team.
That's Judy Thurston-Williams. Yeah, I mean, it's huge. It's huge. I mean, you know, it's not... The Europeans was last week, but it's not just about last week. I mean, with Judy, who we own the horse with, she came to me several years ago and said she would like to own a horse with us. Could we do something together? We found Centano. He was 6. You know, and you start with these horses and you find them and you think, OK, this could be a Grand Prix horse, but you don't know. Nobody knows. It doesn't matter what anybody says. You have no idea whether you've got a Grand Prix horse until you do a Grand Prix. Until you complete a Grand Prix, because you can even enter and it still falls apart in the test. So you don't really know until you get there. So for Judy, I remember the year of COVID. So Centano won the Inter 1 at the Nationals the year before COVID. So I'm losing years. I don't know, when was that? 19?
I have no idea what year it is. I don't even know how old I am now.
No. Well, so that was the year before. So then COVID hit. And my plan with him was then that year was to be able to move him up to Inter 2. COVID hit. So then he had no competing. And Judy had never owned a horse that had done a Grand Prix. And at the end of that year, when they started the national competitions, I did a little local Grand Prix. And she cried.
Oh, my goodness. So how was she?
That was... Exactly. And that's what it meant to her, to have a horse that had done a Grand Prix. And that was at our little local competition. And then this year, you know, he's the 4th horse at the Olympics. We're silver medal at the Europeans. It's very tough.
She must be a mess.
She's pretty happy.
And then another horse. You've come here today in the Grand Prix, come out winner on top by a good margin. Top of the world at the moment, Gareth. And they say success breeds success. I mean, how many more horses are we going to see coming out? And this is amazing. You must be delighted. Tell us a little bit about the horse today.
Yeah, no, I mean, really happy because he's a horse called KK Dominant. He's owned by the Kroll family in Switzerland. I have 2 horses of theirs, actually, KK Woodstock and KK Dominant. And Danny's been Grand Prix for probably 3 years, but very, very limited competing. Again, COVID knocked out a year. But he's sort of had to live in the shadow a little bit of my top mare, Classic Braylinka, and then this year with Centano. So I think Danny did 1 Grand Prix beginning of last year. COVID hit, nothing more, and he's done 1 at the beginning of this year. And then we sort of got back from... Then the whole Olympic experience took 5-6 weeks with quarantine, and then over there, and then got back. We were back a week, and then our daughter at the Pony Europeans, so we were in Poland for a week, and then we were back for 2 weeks. Then we were at the Europeans for a week, and I've been back 3 days. So the girls at home have had to keep these horses going. I've popped in and out and sort of sat on them and sort of tried to ride a few little lines. And old Danny's turned up here and nailed his Grand Prix.
And I mean, again, that mental preparation that we've been talked about quite a lot on this stage and the pressure that riders go under. For you hearing that, how busy he's been to then come and smash a Grand Prix on a horse that's kind of taken a back seat. I mean, you're grinning away there, Bobby, but it's incredible, isn't it?
It really is. And when we were talking earlier, you said that you've got 3 currently that are doing really well at the Grand Prix. Tell us a little bit the difference between them, or do they really have the same personality?
No, they're all very, very different. And I mean, but we look after them the same. We train them in exactly the same way. Our expectations with them are all just them doing the best they can. You know, they're all very different types, very different qualities, very different personalities. But, you know, they've all ended up being sort of, you know, real stars within their own right. And I must say, it's been lovely for the Kroll family with Danny, their support through the last year, with knowing that, you know, unfortunately their horses have had to take that back seat. And, you know, they've never moaned. They've been hugely supportive. And I'm really proud that, you know, we've been able to pull this off for them.
Well, I think it's fantastic. And I know you mentioned there that even you don't know a young horse if it's going to be a Grand Prix horse or not, which I totally agree with. But is there anything in particular you look for, a slight bit of personality or anything?
Well, I think, I mean, you know, every rider likes something different. I mean, I always sort of say, you know, if you like the look of it, sit on it. And if you enjoy riding it, buy it. Because you don't know how they're going to turn out, because they mature, they change. You know, you have some young horses that look like world champions and end up nothing, and then others that are really ugly ducklings and they mature. But there is no Grand Prix horse bred. A good young horse is bred, a good Grand Prix horse is trained. And so you have to enjoy riding them. You have to have an ability to create a very good partnership. And then it's down to us as riders to bring out the best in these horses and turn them into the best horse they can be.
Yeah, and it's really nice to hear you say that and be so honest about it, because we're always sort of told a little bit that, oh, you know, if the young horse can do this and that, is going to be a Grand Prix horse. And then when it doesn't, we think, oh, well, no, it's not a Grand Prix
I think
horse.
the thing is that the breeding programs these days are so good, and they're breeding these horses that do stuff when atmosphere comes in or energy comes in that we call movement. So, you know, they get excited and they piaffe. That horse doesn't know it's a piaffe. You know, or you change direction, you give a little kick and it doesn't change. That horse doesn't know what a change is. And so, you know, you have these horses that sort of showing all this potential, but what happens is, I think, as time goes on, that unless you actually break that down and really teach the horse exactly, you know, the aid for each of these movements, then they get confused. So you see all these amazing young horses lose quality as they get older, and yet these are the most trained ones. So, you know, our job is to treat them well, treat them like horses, give them a good life, because they're there to fulfill our ambition. And so then our job then in the training side is to give them as much information as possible, and really try and nurture them and train them through.
So tomorrow you're doing the Grand Prix Freestyle.
I am, yes.
Okay. So we've spoken a lot as well in one of our last interviews about the Prix St George Freestyle and things like that. What do you enjoy? Do you enjoy starters? Do you like doing freestyles?
Do you know, I used to hate it. Now I don't mind it. Yeah, no, it's quite good fun. And I think I'm very lucky. I've got a few Grand Prix horses, but you can't put a music to every horse. So I sort of look through what I've got. And I've got quite a good music, really suits Danny for tomorrow. And I think when you sometimes you can have music and it sounds really good, and you ride to it and you're like, yeah, that doesn't, you can't really feel it as you're riding it. And then you've got other freestyles that they feel good to ride to. And this one I've got tomorrow is fun to ride to.
And do you have a type of genre or theme of music that you personally like and hope it works with the horses that you're riding?
Well, I come up with ideas and everyone just like looks at me. I do want to do, I'm a bit of a country fan. I actually do want to do a country one, but like present day country. But this one's quite poppy. So it's good. But it also too, you know, music, we've got all these judges. We've got 5 judges here judging. They like all different genres. They like all different types of music. And so I think what's really important is you write something you enjoy. And because what it does, it brings out your personality, it brings out your horse's personality, and then you have fun. And, you know, it's very serious what we do, and you have to be serious about it, and you have to do the best job you possibly can. So if you can go in there and then enjoy what you're doing, and especially something like freestyle where you can put your personality in, it's great.
Yeah, and I think what we've learned a lot about the freestyles as well, what you're saying there, it has to be the right type of music.
Yeah.
You need to come down that centre line thinking, I'm winning, because you feel inspired. But obviously, you don't have to run through the Grand Prix point to point. You can put movements wherever they want.
Yeah. So you sort of take your lines and you sort of try and think about your horse's strengths and weaknesses, and you can move them around and put them there. And you know, when we do a competition like here, the judge doesn't know our floor plan. So you can move it around a little bit sometimes. You know, we always have a spare line if a mistake comes in, so sometimes you have to be a bit clever. But yeah, no, it's about trying to highlight your horse's strengths and have fun with it.
It's very exciting.
I know you like to have a little bit of fun because I follow you and your family on Instagram. And during lockdown, was there not a few TikTok dances that went on?
That's not me, that's my daughter.
I know, but you got involved, Gareth. I've seen you doing a few, I think we got some moves in there, really.
No, I was just cooking dinner and then tried to do some dad dancing in the background.
I think you've got the moves. It's all right. I think if I was really mean, I'd say get up now, but I'm not going to do that to you. You've won the Grand Prix. I think that's enough for today. Good luck for tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Are you going to go out guns blazing? National champion in your sights?
We'll go for it.
Well, it's been such a privilege to talk to you. Congratulations on a fantastic summer and just being there and helping Team GB and the medals. I love the medals. You're not getting this back, by the way. And to your team as well over there, to Steph. And I know it's a huge team effort at Team Hughes, even to the cat, Freddie, who I want to steal. But thank you so much for talking to us. And again, huge congratulations, everyone. Gareth Hughes.
Thank you, Gareth.